is the man sitting in front of the cabin. The pier is Port Johnston, which was what Noble said was a coal dock, one of the longest piers in New York Harbor. And Noble got a job against his parents' wishes. They were artists. He got a job against his parents' wishes as a sailor. He recognized that the age of sail was quickly ending, and this is when he was a teenager in the 1920s. And he knew that these wooden masted schooners would be no longer. And he got a job and he sailed down the Kilvan Col. And on one side where I work is Snug Harbor, and on the other side is Bayonne. And he saw this, what he called new but obsolete vessels, and he went back and explored, and he said he never left. At that point in 1928, this is how it looked. And Tillerson Gorton was the watchman of this, you know what Noble called a boneyard, but it was sort of like a car junkyard. Let me put this book, it's really heavy. I brought the books that you had. It was a boneyard of ships, what he called new but obsolete vessels. He went back and explored and basically never left. And when Tillerson Gorton died in 1939, John Noble took over as the watchman of Port Johnston boneyard. There were resources there like metal, coal, and wood. But this eventually became his houseboat studio. There was a European yacht cabin on a pier. It rotted away, and Noble built a barge, and it was there through the 80s, and it's now installed inside the Noble Maritime Collection. It looks different. There's a part of a Carteret, New Jersey ferry, went back and forth between Carteret, New Jersey, and Staten Island on top of it. But this is again his origin story. And Bayonne Arabian Nights is Tidewater, the Tidewater Oil Refinery, which was eventually owned by Getty. Noble said that he was John Paul Getty's poet laureate. He did one of his very few anachronous works was the building of Tidewater, which we just recently learned happened in the late 19th century before Noble's time. So we have that painting now on display. We have this as well, which is one of Noble's most sought after prints. It's just, it appeals to both maritime folks and history buffs, but also it's just a really artistically engaging and gloomy and moody and narrative piece. It was originally called River Pirate. There is a person there, and that kind of speaks to, like I mentioned here, the waterfront being a resource for people who needed ways to mostly keep their house during the Depression era. So a lot of times Noble was doing, this is from the 1950s, but Noble was doing these things that he had witnessed in the 20s and 30s along the waterfront. And then eventually he has a, Tidewater became known as Hoogery, and then eventually it was knocked down, and Noble has a painting of it being dismantled. So those are two of the most important of his Bayonne prints, but very many of his prints, which are set in the boneyard, are of course Bayonne, and then there are very specific Bayonne prints as well.
The other three are